Welcome to Conspiracy. I'm Sammy,
And I'm Taylor.
and we're here to unpack and analyze the world's best conspiracy theories. So buckle up and let's jump in. Welcome back, people. I hope everybody had a good 4th of July.
I know I did. I love the 4th.
Fireworks are the best.
It is, hands down, probably my favorite holiday. I love all the other holidays because I love getting together with family.
It's just a different kind of holiday, though.
Yeah, and I'm obsessed with fireworks, always have been.
Because
But
they're so expensive, and if I can have somebody put on a free show for me, I love that.
yeah, and I know, well, if you're from Wisconsin, maybe you've heard of Fisk. But last year, the Fisk fireworks, they were like, we're not going to have them next year because the person that sponsored wasn't going to sponsor anymore. But they got a new sponsor this year, so it was really exciting to go out and be able to see that.
Yeah,
I was very excited.
I was
And then
pumped.
4th of July ones at the park are always amazing.
They are.
Oh.
They put on a good show. But
And the
the Festival of Foods pays for all of that.
Yeah.
And they put on a really good show.
And mind you, the one good thing I like about them is they always have a firework in the sky. Sometimes you go to certain shows and it's like,
And it's like you're waiting for the next one to go off.
yeah, it's like bang pow, and then it's like silent for like almost a minute, and then
You're
there's
like,
more, and I'm
Is
like,
it done?
don't get me wrong, I love fireworks and I will wait for them, but I like it when it's consistent
Yeah.
and keeps going.
There's always something to look at then.
And they have not only a finale at the end, but they have like a mid-show finale,
Sometimes
Ugh.
it happens and I'm like, well, is that it?
right? And then you wait, and then they're like,
And then
"Oh."
there's another firework in
Yes.
the sky and then it's like the finale's like, I swear to God,
Oh
they
my
use
God.
a bajillion fireworks in that last stint.
Sometimes it's brighter than the actual sun.
And to look right at it, I'm like, I'm kind of blind.
But it's so beautiful, and I don't know what I like more, the actual look of the firework or the feeling of the pow.
I like the feeling. Like the one where it's just a ginormous flash of light and then you
Yes.
feel it in your chest when it goes bang. I'm like,
Yes.
oh, yes.
It makes like your whole heart and body vibrate.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I don't know. I like the ones that we can buy. I don't know if like the big show ones are called the same thing, but they're called Texas rattlers or
Oh,
rattlesnakes.
they're like
and like they shoot up and then they like explode like a normal firework, but then they
crackle as they
It's
go,
like,
yeah.
as they fizzle down. I'm like, hell yes.
I
That
like
is the best
that.
firework.
It looks like a ginormous like weeping willow kind of thing.
Yes.
Okay.
And I remember as a kid, and I have not seen them as an adult, or maybe I'm just misremembering them. I don't know how I could because I love fireworks, but they used to have weeping willows that I swear to God would almost touch the ground. And
no,
now-
I totally remember those. 'Cause when we would go to Fisk as kids, I'm
Yes.
like, wow, that is draping. Like it's gonna hit our car.
Yeah, and they were
And-
big gold ones.
And now they die like
So
halfway down.
quickly. And I don't know if fireworks are maybe made different now.
Who knows? They
But-
probably had like horrible toxins for the environment. Now they're like, oh crap, that's bad for us.
We can't do that. No, I thrive on fireworks. When we went to Disney, I got a week worth of fireworks.
Oh yeah, guys,
We're back from Disney.
we're back from Disney.
If you
We
couldn't
might have-
tell.
we might have said that in the last podcast, but I can't remember.
I can't either. But we're back. But I got fireworks almost every night there, with
Yeah.
the exception of the nights that we left Disney.
Mind you, we were running to rides, so it wasn't like we were really paying attention because that's the time to ride the rides.
We'd be running to Space Mountain. I'd be like, Sammy, look, fireworks.
Oh wow, how beautiful!
I will say one of my favorite views is when we watched the fireworks from the People Mover.
Yes,
That was so good.
I know.
And you got such a great view. And then I think it was the very first night we got there when you drove in the car so I could watch the fireworks.
Yep.
Like the speedway. So
I am an amazing driver, by the way.
let's not. We were on this ride and Sammy.
It is all
No,
it
no.
takes is the smallest little movement of the wheel, and it cranks you
Oh.
into this little bar in the middle.
I'm not even complaining about your driving, which, by the way, it was horrible.
It was really good.
I am complaining about the fact that Sammy's driving this car so I can watch the fireworks because I wanted to watch them. So she took one for the team and she drove it so I could watch. And as we're driving, Sammy proceeds to look at a girl in another car going, "Get off your phone! You're driving!"
She literally just pushed the gas pedal and
Oh, yeah.
drove.
She
She did not touch the wheel once.
No.
She just let the little track lead her because she was on her phone the entire time. I'm like, what's even the point of going on the ride?
And mind you, you could totally tell she was at I would assume high school, and she
She
was
was-
doing everything for the gram.
She was there just for the pictures.
She wasn't there to enjoy the fireworks, to enjoy the ride,
No,
to
she was-
enjoy the
She
experience.
was there to get the picture.
100%.
By herself. I didn't see her with anybody
I
either.
don't think anyone was in line. I kind of got the vibe that like mom and dad dropped her off at the gate.
That or maybe they were watching the fireworks and she's like,
Yeah.
I gotta go get a picture.
Yeah, and she definitely was there for the Instagram photo. She was there for no other purpose, which is sad. Disney is the most magical place on earth. I stand by that statement because when you are there, it is such an experience, and I think everyone should experience it once in their life. And she was not experiencing it. She was.
Some people experience things through their phones.
That's so sad.
It's just not how
And
I
don't get me
live.
wrong, I love a good picture. I'm there. I love the picture, but you need to also just be in the
Live in
moment.
it, yeah.
and feel it. So now that we've had that super crazy long intro, I don't even know how we got on the top. Oh, fireworks. Okay.
But we wanted to shout a couple people out for
Yes.
following us on our Instagram. So Tay's gonna throw out some usernames.
Yeah, the top 3, and I think we're gonna make this more of like a weekly thing. So
Yeah.
if you give us a follow or maybe like a review on Apple Podcasts,
We'll shout you out.
we'll put you in here. So I want to thank Ash Dud84, Ashley, and then we have Addie M Dudley, and then we also have Hey Bala, is how I'm assuming you'd pronounce it.
Okay.
But yeah, our most recent 3 for following. So thanks
Thanks
guys.
very much.
Yeah, and feel free to drop us a follow and maybe you'll get shouted out on the next podcast.
All right, so that leads us into our topic for this week's episode.
And I'm excited because you said I'm gonna love it.
You're gonna feel something towards it.
Okay.
It is a topic that you feel very passionately about.
Okay. Is it a happy passion or an angry passion?
You love this topic.
Okay.
Or you love aspects about this topic.
All right. Can you give me a hint without giving it away? Because I want to shout something right now.
They say we've traveled there.
No, you fucking didn't. It is not a positive emotion. You are going to tell me that the moon landing's fake, and it's not. It is not fake. I'm sorry. I'm a space junkie. I love everything to do with space, but I can't get behind this conspiracy.
Today we are going to unpack the fact that the moon landing was a hoax.
No, it's not.
So yeah.
No. I knew you were going to eventually do this.
Heck yeah, because I knew you wouldn't.
I would never.
So,
Ugh.
and honestly, after doing some research, I can honestly believe it.
I won't. You could give me all the evidence. You could have the astronaut himself come in here and go, Taylor, I never landed on the moon, and I would not believe it.
Yeah.
So sad. Okay.
So yeah, that's our plan for the day. We're gonna attack that.
Did Mom know you were doing this one?
I don't know.
Because Mom would have had a hard time keeping this from me, I think.
I was researching this one when we were still at school, and I started talking to like my people at school about it, and they're like, "Oh, like, mind you, the chick that teaches astronomy, she goes, yeah, that's even a tough topic for me because she goes, there's compelling arguments
That's the hard
for
part. Yeah.
both sides.
Yeah.
But the
And
fact,
she's astronomy, so like she's into the space and would likely be believing that we were on the moon.
yeah,
I'm with her. I love astronomy.
and I mean the fact that I can't do that because I'm gonna get to it. So
Okay.
never mind.
Don't want you to get too ahead of yourself.
All right, so we're gonna jump into some background.
Okay. Is background heavy this week?
Not really.
Okay. 'cause
There's not a ton of background.
Sometimes it's like 50-50 and sometimes it's like it's all just conspiracy.
Really, a lot of it's more theory based.
Okay.
I mean, I kind of say it's 50-50.
Gotcha.
All right, so America was in a battle against the Soviet Union to be the first people to get boots on the moon in the battle called the Space Race.
Yep.
So
Super popular.
that is really the thing we're going to focus on because that's when all of this was happening.
Okay.
Each country's trying to outdo the other by kind of achieving superior space exploration capabilities.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Russia may have been the first people to land a spacecraft, so they were the first people to actually get something on the moon.
Yeah. It was a rover.
Yeah,
Yep.
the Luna 2, which happened in 1966.
Okay.
The U.S. is still to this day the only ones who have successfully had people walking on the moon.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, America's the only ones. That's shocking to me.
I feel like once it's already been done, people are like, who gives a fuck?
Yeah, I know, but my thing's like there's so much more research and exploration that could be going on.
I feel like, especially now, I think back then I'm a little surprised more people didn't try, but I think now the whole pivot is to Mars. Like, I think people are really like, we need to take the next step.
And my thing's like, okay, let's say we didn't land on the moon.
Okay.
Let's say we didn't.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're saying we're going to send people to Mars, and people are signing up for this
Uh-huh.
to get shot into space.
Yeah.
When we have not landed on the moon.
And here's a sidetrack thing, because we'll come back to the Mars thing in a second, because I do want to talk on that. Current news, and I think I talked to you and Mom
You
about
did
this
talk
the other night.
about this. Boeing?
It is so upsetting to me that for years Boeing is like, we want to put people in space, and they got approval through NASA and other things that yes, you can do this. And it sounds like they half-assed put together a spacecraft, put them up there. They can't get them back down. They're still up there. Initially, I want to say their first return date was like June 18th.
Which they may be back by now when this posts.
Yes,
But at the moment, they are still up there.
Yeah, as we're recording this, it is before then. So maybe they're back. I'm hoping by the time this drops, they're back. Fingers crossed. But initially, I want to say their first date was like June 18th.
Because when did they get shot up there?
Oh, God. I'm going to have to Google because I don't actually know.
Because if June 18th was their estimated return time, how many days were they planning on being up there? 5?
One sec. Boeing spacecraft.
Because weren't they trying to attach to the space station?
That was the goal.
Okay.
That was...
Is there anybody on the space station at the moment? Do we have people in space?
We consistently have people up there. Okay. This is what this is telling me, and this could very well, maybe I'm reading the wrong thing. NASA's astronauts, Suni Williams and Butch Wilmore, the crew of Boeing's CST-100 Starlight craft, it launched on April 25th of 2024. April. Their time to come back, excuse me, I said June 18th. It was June 13th.
Okay.
When we were in Disney, I saw the first one where I was like, okay, we can't get them back on the 13th. So then it got pushed to like the 21st. And then it got pushed to like the 27th. And now they're saying they're not going to be coming home till after 4th of July.
Oh my God. And they've already been up there since April.
I know. And
I hope they got enough to sustain themselves.
And I think when situations like, I mean, when you're going into space, I can't imagine
that
like
you
don't
overpack.
Yes. Like have stuff. And at that point, when they were told, oh, it's going to be extended, then you start rationing.
Have they attached to the space station?
No, because their propulsion, I don't know if I'm saying the things that propel them through space, propulsion, that system it's malfunctioning. So like the stuff that helps push them through space isn't functioning the proper way, because initially they were supposed to latch on and like be able to go in, was my understanding. And then they were going to be coming back down. Now I'm like, what the fuck are you going to do?
I hope they have an engineer on board.
Well,
I can't imagine they wouldn't.
To my knowledge, they are NASA astronauts, so I would assume one of them is an engineer.
Up in a Boeing rocket.
Craft. And mind you, I would assume that they...
Because hasn't Boeing's stocks, like, plummeted?
Oh, plummeted huge. But yeah, so I cannot imagine being in that spacecraft going, holy shit, are we going to get back down? But yeah, anyways, backtrack to Mars. I feel like that's the new, like, destination, and people are like, forget the moon. We're going past that. And initially, like, we were supposed to launch for Mars in 2025. That was the first date.
It really got pushed.
I want to say we're looking at, like, 2030 now.
I thought it was, like, 2023 that they were supposed to go.
I want to say
they all signed up, and, like, one of them was a mother with children, and I'm like, I cannot believe you signed up to abandon your family.
Because they've told you you're not coming back.
No.
They made that very clear that if you sign up for this...
Doesn't it take like 6 or 7 years just to get there?
It should take 5 years to travel to Mars. Okay. And then they told you that they're like, we can't provide enough fuel and technology to bring you back. So you've been told that if you go, you will not return to Earth. That has already been committed. And then you have these parents that are like, I'll go. And I'm like, you have children.
I know.
And they were
It's very
young.
selfish.
It's so selfish. It really is. It's a job that is meant for someone that is single. Because I'm sorry, you're going to leave your husband, your wife?
Well, even still, you're going to leave your family.
Yeah. I just can't I love space. And I would have a really hard time, even if they're like, you can go up and come back down and you'll live. I don't think I would do it.
I'd be too scared.
I would be too scared. But then I just sit there and you're leaving your mom, your dad, if you have pets, if you have kids, if you have brothers, sisters, you're leaving all of that.
Yeah.
So unless you're like an orphan with no one, I would have such a hard time signing up for that. That'd be very difficult. But I can't imagine.
Calling all orphans.
That's so sad.
I know.
I can't wrap my head around leaving anyone that I love down here. That would be hard. That'd be really, really hard.
Bye.
Yeah. And the thing is, it's not even a guarantee that you make it there. Yeah, I mean,
look at what's happening with this Boeing thing.
And there's so many things that could go wrong. I mean, you could be hit by an asteroid. Your ship's destroyed. You're dead.
How long ago were they supposed to latch onto the ship?
I want to say they were supposed to do it a little bit before June 13th because they were going to help them get back down. From what I took away from the article is that they were supposed to do it
that would help them turn around and come back.
That, or maybe they were going to use a different spacecraft to come back. I'm not sure.
I don't know, but I'm like, space is scary.
It's really neat to learn
about. It's like the ocean.
Oh, fuck. Don't even get me started on the ocean.
Okay, we're tangenting.
We are. Aunt Nancy's going to be like, what are you doing? I have whiplash.
Tangenting?
I don't think that's a word, but we'll use it.
Going on a tangent? There we go.
Too many tangents.
Okay, circling back.
After 15 minutes.
So yeah, America has been the only people, or the USA has been the only people to have had people walk on the moon.
Yes.
So NASA launched the mission from Kennedy Space Center on July 16th, 1969.
Yeah.
Using a Saturn V rocket. The rocket blasted out of our Earth's atmosphere, and the lunar module named the Eagle separated from the command module called the Columbia, which I didn't know they gave them names.
They name literally everything. Everything that goes into space has a name.
I was kind of shocked by that. And mind you, Eagle and Columbia, how does that even go together?
Well,
but whatever.
I think they just pick different, like the Eagle they all have different representations.
Okay, so the Eagle separated from the Columbia, which descended to the Earth's... Sorry, that's getting a lot of feedback. Separated from the command module, the Columbia, which descended to the Earth's surface. This seemingly monumental event only happened a short 3 years after Russia landed the Luna 2, which was that rover that they put on the surface of the moon.
Yep.
NASA launched the Apollo 11 mission with 3 astronauts on board, 2 of which would later set foot on the moon. Which I guess I didn't know that there was 3 astronauts, and I knew 2 people walked on the moon because it's Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong.
I'm so proud of you. I didn't know you would know those.
I can't believe I remembered Buzz before Neil.
I know, because everyone remembers Neil.
Well, I think it's because Buzz was in Big Bang Theory. And he's like, well, I was the second person to walk on the moon. He holds kind of a grudge. So yeah, 2 of which would later set foot on the moon. After the lunar module touched down on the moon, Neil Armstrong took the first steps onto the moon's surface, stating the now famous words,
"One small step for man, one giant step for mankind."
It's actually leap.
Is it really leap?
You stupid.
No, you go.
You say you know your space.
I do. Go ahead, you say it.
One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
I should have. I knew that too. Okay,
Dummy.
I'm stupid.
Yeah, you're stupid.
I knew the second I said that you were gonna do Rachel Geller. Not Rachel.
Monica. You're stupid.
She said it to Chandler. I felt so bad for Chandler.
You're stupid.
And Chandler was just like, I meant to say it like this. And honestly,
that wasn't scripted.
No.
I know, it was totally off script.
And mind you, when you look at the scene, you could tell he was flustered, like, oh shit. Oh shit. I love that scene, and the fact that they kept it in makes it even more perfect.
I know, I love when they do that.
If you're not a Friends person, I'm sorry, you didn't understand any of that.
That's because you're stupid.
Sorry, I'm going to re-record. One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. Now I don't feel stupid. I still looked stupid, but...
It didn't look. They can't see you. You sounded stupid.
I sounded stupid.
All right. After Neil made a...
Giant leap for mankind?
Shut up. After Neil made his... That still was bad.
Take number 3.
After Neil made his steps, a second astronaut, Buzz Aldrin, joined him.
Talk about a badass name. What's your name? Buzz. Like Buzz Lightyear.
I know, and it wasn't like Buzzard. It was like Buzz.
That's like his full name?
Buzz.
B-U-Z-Z?
I mean, maybe he has a longer name, but every single thing I read said Buzz Aldrin.
I mean, his last name isn't as cool, but the first name, Buzz, I would have walked around and said, like, yeah, Buzz Lightyear.
Yeah, I know, but I wouldn't want to name my kid
Oh my
Buzz.
God. Do you think that's why they named Buzz Lightyear? Do you think that's why in Toy Story?
He's a space ranger.
Oh my God. Yeah. I guarantee.
Naming him Neil would be kind of lame.
Yeah, but that's probably why Buzz in Toy Story got his name. That is badass.
Wow. Disney.
That is how Buzz was he reclaimed his glory. He got named in a Toy Story Disney movie. The other one got to have the first steps on the moon. There you go. Buzz, you had your fame. With children. And they don't know who you are, but they know who Buzz Lightyear is.
Which
you have been reclaimed.
Is a token to Buzz Aldrin. So he was the second person to set foot on the moon. Now, meanwhile, the third astronaut, Michael Collins, which nobody knows his name.
Sad.
I know, I'd hate to be him. He remained in the command module, the Columbia. After this huge breakthrough, America became the leaders in the space race by a landslide.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, represent. While on the moon, Neil and Buzz began collecting samples for later testing back on Earth of the moon rocks. So they also conducted several experiments, some being, and there's a few, passive seismic experiment, which was a seismometer to detect moonquakes and other impacts on the moon.
Dude, moonquakes are a huge thing. When I took my astronomy class in college, we have like a whole unit on moon.
I mean, it's basically like an earthquake on the moon.
Yeah.
And because it's such a smaller
you feel
body,
yes.
you feel it. It's noticeable.
And I feel like, from what I remember, is they were never as intense as like an earthquake. It was never like you were hitting like the moon's cracking open, but there was lot.
Like a shake.
You definitely, and it sounds like they happen quite frequently.
Okay.
Which I found very interesting. And I don't know how they would have like an earthquake, a moonquake. I don't know how that would start.
Well, how does the Earth? Because I don't know.
We have tectonic plates.
I don't think the moon has tectonic plates.
That's what I don't. How does that happen?
I got no clue.
But then again, I guess every planet can have A Marsquake.
The moon isn't a planet.
Well, I know it's not a planet,
It's a
but
moon.
I feel like all the other planets can have a quake of their own. And I guess I didn't put 2 and 2 together that it's called an earthquake because we're on Earth. And then, so if you went to Mars, would it be a Marsquake?
Probably.
Or an
that was a moonquake, right?
Yeah, you said moonquake.
Yeah,
so do we
moonquake.
just put the name of the planet in front
Saturn quakes.
of it? Okay, first of all, Saturn is a gaseous planet, so I don't know if it's quaking.
I hate you. All right, another test they did was laser ranging retroreflector, which was a set of mirrors that reflected lasers from Earth to measure the distance between the moon and the Earth.
Yes. Have you seen pictures of that?
No, I haven't.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It is pretty epic, and that you can like reflect it and bounce. Those are neat.
Okay.
I've seen those things done before.
Another one is the lunar surface gravimeter, which was a device to measure the moon's gravity and how it changes over time.
Which I'm like, I so desperately want to walk on moon's gravity, but I'd be like, what if I float away?
Well, we'll just take you in a plane and shoot you straight to the Earth. Then you'll feel Earth's gravity or the moon's gravity.
I don't need that. Never mind.
We'll just take you to Tower of Terror and give you no seatbelt.
I don't like that. Tower of Terror is freaking horrible. No, thank you.
All right, and then the last test that I'm going to mention, because some of them like they were super high level.
Yeah.
They took thermometers up there and they just installed devices, thermometers, onto the moon's surface to measure temperature. So those were just some of the experiments that were said to have happened while on the moon. In addition to those many experiments that took place, Buzz Aldrin also placed an American flag on the moon in a way to mark our territory, proving that we are surpassing the Soviet Union because we beat them in the space race and they suck.
Hell yeah.
Okay.
We shouldn't probably say they suck because then they're gonna like send Russian soldiers over here.
We don't mean you suck. We just mean we're better than you.
Sammy, stop talking. The last thing I need is
we just mean we're better than you in the space race.
Stop talking.
Is that better?
As it is, I'm already terrified that Scientology people are gonna hunt us down.
We're just
because we know Shelley Miscavige has been killed or she's hiding in a bunker. It's one or the other.
She's somewhere.
Ugh. We're gonna start getting.
She's definitely still alive.
We're gonna get targeted.
All right. After the mission to the moon was complete, Armstrong and Aldrin returned to the lunar module, the Eagle. They lifted off in the Eagle and started to ascent and rejoin Michael Collins, who was aboard the Columbia and in lunar orbit.
Yep.
After the crew reboarded the Columbia, which just amazes me that this thing can be floating in outer space and they can go take their little Eagle and attach it to it and then reboard it.
Yeah, but we do things like that all the time with the space station.
That's just crazy.
But that's why you have the engineers and the, what are they called? I should know this from when I did the Challenger explosion episode. Howard Wolowitz was one when he went to space in the Big Bang Theory.
An engineer?
No, well, he was no, he was not. A payload person. Payload something. Payload specialist. That's what it's called.
What the hell is that?
A payload specialist is someone that works within a space station. But they have people that are able to drive these things so that way they can line up the sensors to connect correctly and all that fun stuff.
Okay.
But yeah, can you imagine being that person that you have to angle it in perfectly? And
otherwise it's going to break.
It's not like you're sitting there driving a car. You have little thrusters that are pushing you.
You go in one direction, you're already off, and then
exactly.
In the other
you have to you have to be dead on. So you have to be very good at your job.
Yeah. So they went and tried to reattach to the Columbia. The crew then spent 2.5 minutes jetting back towards Earth to re-enter Earth's atmosphere. 2.5 minutes. That doesn't seem like long.
That doesn't seem right.
So yeah, 2.5 minutes to re-enter Earth's atmosphere, where they would later crash into the Pacific Ocean on July 24th, 1969 at 5:50 a.m., which was about 13 miles away from the USS Hornet recovery ship, and it was about 920 miles southwest of Honolulu.
What always amazes me, and because I enjoy space so much, I will forever plug the movie
The Martian.
Well, I love The Martian too. That is Matt Damon. Holy shit. That movie's great, but you really have to prepare for a 3-hour movie. No. Oh my god, it's like one of my favorite movies.
Apparently not, because you don't know the name.
Oh my, it's about the black women that worked for NASA.
Hidden Figures.
Thank you. I find it so intriguing. And mind you, I can do simple math. I'm very good at that. But the fact that you can do math to pinpoint the exact coordinate of where they will land is flawless work to me. It's
wild.
So impressive that they're like, it's going to be between here and here, longitude, latitude, exactly there. And guess what? Almost 100% of the time, they're dead on.
Well, in this case, they were 250 miles off.
I shouldn't have said that, but most of the times they can hit that.
The reason it was because of bad weather.
Oh,
that
well,
they didn't hit their target area.
But
But
it's
they
just
were 250 miles, which is a long ways away.
It is. But if you have weather, but you also had to, there's human error. Maybe they didn't calculate correctly or they didn't re-enter the atmosphere at the right, they call it the go, no-go point. I'm so fucking smart.
Wow, you are so inteligente.
That's intelligent in Spanish.
Yo soy
muy importante.
I am important, not you are important.
I am important. Thank you, Jim Gaffigan, for teaching me Spanish. We'll shout him out. I'll just take him in the new Instagram post and be like, Jim Gaffigan, follow the podcast.
He'll be like, what the heck?
He'll make a joke about us in the next thing.
He's got like 7 kids he's got to worry about, so he ain't going to worry about us. All right, so after traveling the 950,000 miles in a little more than 8 days, the Apollo 11 mission effectively demonstrated U.S. victory in the space race by fulfilling President John F. Kennedy's 1961 goal of landing on the moon and returning safely to Earth.
I love JFK's speech for that. I talked about that in the JFK podcast.
You did?
I did. I love the whole topic. I love that era. I don't love the whole war and everything that was going on then.
I know, I would not want to be that.
If I had to pick another era to live in, I feel like in the U.S. there was some happiness at that time. Well, with the exception of war and losing men at that time.
But that's any point in our lives.
I mean, there's war now. We know people that are over fighting.
I mean, mind you, it wasn't on our soil then, but I feel like it was a little bit more prominent then.
Yeah, I feel like we just felt it a little bit more heavy here.
Yeah. So to this day, no other country has placed boots on the moon. So my only question is, if this was such a monumental moment, why have we not returned to the moon to continue our research? Which I know we talked about earlier.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it's been 54 years and no other nation has been able to replicate what we did in 1969. So how's that possible?
Part of me wonders, do other countries at this point just not care? Because it's kind of like, oh, it's been done, whatever. Like, that's my wonder.
Yeah, but my thing's like,
is there something else that they're like, we're aiming for this?
If America does it, I feel like everybody's like, oh, I have to do that.
I would agree. There are certain countries that I feel like if we do it, they're like, well, now we have to compete.
Like the fact that we did it and Russia wasn't like, okay, now we have to do it.
I would have felt like Russia would have been our biggest competition.
Because even if we did it, like, I feel like Russia still would have been like, yeah, well, we did it too.
Yeah. If there was any other country that was going to, it would have been them.
Yeah.
I don't know. Part of me was like, okay, at that time where they're like, well, fine, you went to the moon, we're gonna go to a star. You can't go to a star, but I feel like they'd have been dumb enough to do that.
They're smarter than you think.
I don't know.
You're undercrediting them.
I probably shouldn't undercredit them. They're gonna kill me. Yikes.
Okay.
Maybe they just were like, okay, it's been done, or they're like, joke's on you. We've already been to Mars.
So my thing's like 54 years.
I know.
It's been 54 years.
But eventually, do you think they just
really,
lose track?
Since then, we've done nothing.
Well, we've done a lot of
We've put like rovers.
We've done a lot of probes.
We've done
which, by the way,
satellites.
my favorite probe is the one that went past Pluto and took photos. That was beautiful.
Well, and the amount of space junk we're just throwing out there.
know.
Humans are such polluters.
It's huge. And my favorite thing when we went to Zion and Bryce last year, when not only did we get to see stuff through a telescope, but like you could lay out in the stars and you could point out space junk moving through the sky.
Yeah, you could. You can totally see it.
But we were in a certified dark zone.
Yeah.
So that helped. But like that we also
what
had
was
that
also the line of like blinking lights?
The Tesla satellites. Elon Musk satellites.
Don't they have a name?
Starlink.
That's what it is. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was so cool.
I know. That was, I mean,
It's creepy.
it's creepy because you sit there and you're like, holy, it's like a whole snake of stars.
It is
of like,
so long.
it's very long.
And you'd be like, oh my God.
And mind you, we saw it there, and I'm like, I've never seen this at home. We came home, like 2 weeks later, we saw it in our backyard.
I know.
I'm like, what are the chances?
It wasn't as clear as day in our backyard,
No.
but you could definitely still see it and be like, oh my God, hey, that's it.
Yeah, it's really creepy to see, but you're kind of like, oh my God, I'm actually seeing it.
Yeah.
It was a neat experience. I'm glad I've been able to say I've seen that.
Yeah, maybe when we go to Yellowstone, we'll see it.
I'm hoping, because heads up, guys, this podcast is going to drop, and we're going to be in the middle of the mountains.
Yeah, we
So-
will be.
This podcast will be dropping when we are in the middle of nowhere. So fingers crossed that our mother can click publish and this goes, because it'll publish everywhere, but on Apple Podcasts.
Yeah, Apple glitches every once in a while.
And so if we'll blame mom. If it doesn't post next Wednesday, it's all our mother's fault.
That or you might get this a little bit early. It might post at like 9 at night.
Yeah, something. We're going to have to figure it out, because I know Spotify and YouTube, I never have had issues, but with Apple, I can't get it to always publish when I want it to.
Yeah, so now we're
Yeah.
going to discuss some theories. So we're going to jump into some of those, which I think I've got like 4.
Okay.
I can't remember. All right, so conspiracies that the moon landing was faked began to arise in 1970 and really have persisted to this day.
So it really began like right after it happened.
Yeah, because 1969 was when it happened.
Yeah.
And then 1970s, like during that decade, it really was prominent.
I'm really surprised that at the beginning of this podcast, when you said 69, you didn't go 69.
I'm an adult, Taylor.
Okay, I'd like the public to know that my sister is not an adult, and that when the thermometer in our house reads 69, she walks around going 69 because she thinks she's funny.
Taylor, this is a child-friendly podcast.
Really? Because I think I've dropped the F-bomb about 4 or 5 times now.
Children, 69 is just a cute number.
Yeah, cute.
'Kay. All right. The first theory has to do with the photographic anomalies.
Okay.
For example, the common argument is that there are many inconsistencies in the photos and videos from the moon,
Okay.
such as the absence of stars in the sky, the way shadows fall, and the appearance of the American flag.
Okay.
Now, prior to the actual moon landing, the two astronauts practiced on a fake moon setup.
Okay, it wouldn't surprise me.
So that in the real thing, they would kind of have an idea of how to function with the suits and the materials that they'd be wearing and using.
Well, especially because they're going to be video recording it, and you don't want to look like a dumbass.
Correct.
When it's going to come back and be televised.
However, the setup that they had for the fake moon landing looks so realistic that it could have very well been used again to stage a fake moon landing later on that would later be deemed the Apollo 11 mission.
I'm not going to believe whatever you say. It's going to be convincing. And I'm going to be able to say, yes, there's a convincing argument, but I can't.
And I have pictures to show you, but I'm going to quick read through this.
Oh, I've seen pictures on TikTok, and they just upset me. Because I can't, in my love for space, I can't believe it. Even with, and the thing is, the hard part is there is convincing stuff out there.
I know.
But
I said, when talking, which April, if you're listening to this, she teaches astronomy at my high school that I teach at, and I was talking to her and she goes, honestly, like there's some compelling evidence, but she goes, I so badly don't want to believe it.
Yeah.
Because of, and mind you, like obviously space is a thing because like you can look and see stars. And
Oh
it's
yeah.
there.
Yeah.
And I believe we've traveled to space.
Oh, 100. I mean, yes.
I don't necessarily know if we have.
We've been to the moon.
Successfully.
We have successfully landed on the moon.
Human boots.
We've landed
on the moon.
Human boots on the moon.
I think we've landed rovers.
I think we've landed boots.
I think our rovers have done tests.
Sammy, I can't do it.
The other argument that many conspiracy theorists make is that for a dark place out in space, the scene was extremely well lit.
Well, yeah, because what is it called? It wasn't the Columbia. Whatever landed, they had huge freaking lights on it. They were set lights because they're on a TV set.
This is because stage lights would have been used to better illuminate the astronauts conducting their tests.
Oh, 100% if they were on a stage, but they also had lights on I don't remember what piece they flew in on. Because the Columbia's
they landed on the Eagle. The Columbia was lunar orbiting around this place.
Okay,
so the light would have been moving if it was orbiting.
No, it wasn't orbiting. I'm saying the Eagle, the thing they came in on, is what had lights on it.
It's right there.
Did it have lights?
No.
Oh, it's not a set.
So, I'll show you the pictures.
No.
Something I did not find in my research, but has astounded me is, as I've been digging stuff up on this episode, was that Neil Armstrong was stepping off the ladder onto the moon's surface for the first time, yet there was already a camera positioned facing him.
Okay, but it's like TikTokers.
This was in 1969.
Yeah, TikTok, it could have started way back then.
Was there a selfie stick?
But you sit there and, okay, when you think about it, Sammy, you knew that they were going to have to... You want to video record that moment, so he had to step on the moon.
Yeah, my thing's like there was no footprints on the moon's surface.
Maybe they dusted them away. Isn't it? The moon is made out of rock and like sand, like material.
Correct, but we have pictures of the moon footsteps.
Oh yeah, we took that probably after he stepped on it.
Correct, but why was there no footstep when the camera was already set up?
Because they got back up on the ladder and brushed them away. Because you can't pretend like, I've already stepped on the moon. That takes away the magic of it.
Okay.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Would you like to see the pictures I have?
I already know they're going to be very convincing. They're going to piss me off.
So there's the two. You can see the one where you can kind of see like the backdrop because that's them practicing on their fake set.
Okay, because I was like, dude,
that's not actual.
I'm like, there's metal rods behind them. There's
Correct.
No way.
That is the fake set. So you can see how photorealistic it looks.
Oh, yeah, it does look photorealistic. I'll give you that.
You can see stage lights illuminating them.
Oh, yeah, because you can literally see the light bulb.
Correct.
Yep.
What's the one below it?
I see this one with the shadow.
We aren't there yet.
Oh, we're not there yet.
No, top two.
Yeah.
Okay,
This one literally has a whole metal structure behind them.
Correct, because
Yeah.
that's the setup that
set.
they had. Yep.
Are they saying, are either of these supposed to be the real one?
No.
Okay, these are the
both
sets.
fake.
I could totally, if they could get out of the metal beams behind them, it would look very realistic. I could buy that.
Part of the reason that I struggle with the fact that we've been on the moon is because of the,
I know.
oh, here's the camera footage of I'm stepping on the moon. And I realized, yes, it probably wasn't his first step on the moon because you have to go set up the camera and then come back. But my thing is the footsteps.
You dust them away. That's how I look at it. Because it's not like you're stepping on solid concrete.
There was no dust marks.
Yeah, but you can move and maneuver that shit.
And would we bring a broom, or did he just get down there with his little
oven mitt? I would
and
assume it's
shake
his glove.
It up? Okay.
That's what I would assume, because it takes away the magic of, well, I've already stepped on the moon to set up the camera to show you I'm stepping on the moon. That's how I look at it.
Okay. Another aspect of the photographic evidence that seemed to be questioned is that some of the photographs also contain crosshairs behind objects. So that begs the question as to if these photographs were manipulated or superimposed on top of another image.
It wouldn't surprise me if they're manipulated, because everything's manipulated now.
Not in 1969. Do you know what a crosshair is?
No, I've never heard of a crosshair.
A crosshair is like these little plus signs. So like there's all those little plus signs.
Oh, like a watermark kind of thing?
No.
Okay.
They're like inside that picture there's little like plus marks.
Oh, I see. I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
I didn't know that was called a crosshair.
Those are crosshairs. This image has been taken as proof by conspiracy theorists that the moon landing was faked. Surely if the sun were the only light source, then the shadows would be parallel. So if the sun's coming from one area,
I had to talk through it.
Your shadow should be parallel.
Mm-hmm.
However, in this picture, the astronaut's body is straight up, and the little antenna off of their eagle that landed is in a totally another direction. So they would have to have multiple lights to provide two shadows that go in different directions. So that's another thing.
Do you
that
remember
has been spoken about?
Like within the first couple weeks of our podcast, when we got that horrible review left on Apple Podcasts going, ditch the bubbly co-host.
Yeah.
And it was an episode where I presented, and like, the presenter did really good. And then they're like, the bubbly co-host needs to be, get rid of him. This week, I'm going to be the bubbly co-host that just doesn't believe the conspiracy, and he's going to leave.
Like, but we've actually landed there.
He's going to be like, shut the hell up. He or she. I don't know if it was he or she.
Hey, haters going to hate.
Oh, they are. I love astronomy, so I have a hard time with this.
We will post all of these pictures.
Yeah.
The one I'm currently talking about, it's a picture like of the moon ground, and you can see two shadows on it. One of them is an astronaut, and then the other is like it looks like a stick. It's the antenna from the eagle that landed on the moon, and the shadows go in two different directions. So you can see that the light sources couldn't possibly be coming from one source.
All right.
So
I see it.
Okay.
I don't believe it.
Do those shadows look parallel?
Parallel-ish.
You teach 4th grade. Do those look parallel?
Maybe.
Kind of. No.
My math coach, Kathy, would be like, Taylor, I hate you. She goes, those are not parallel. Eventually they will cross. I'm sorry, Kathy. Yes, they do not look parallel, but they're like parallel-ish. Kind of.
I mean, I wouldn't say they're super far off parallel, but they're definitely not parallel.
Maybe the sun was just angled weird.
Okay.
It could happen.
All right, so the second theory that we're going to look into is the absence of an impact crater from the lunar landing of the Eagle.
I don't like this conspiracy. This is the worst episode we've ever done. Thank God this isn't the 20th episode. That was mine. This is the 21st.
Oh, I guess I didn't pay attention to the
I pay attention
number.
to all of that.
Okay.
I don't like this episode.
So with the speed at which the Eagle would have landed on the moon, there should have been some aspect of an impact crater. I mean, it might have been small, but there should have at least been some form of a little bump.
Maybe it's because of the gravity.
I mean, you look at when an asteroid hits Earth.
Okay, but the asteroid is coming down a bajillion miles an hour.
Okay.
But yes, there should have been somewhat of an impact crater.
If you look at where it landed and
maybe they dusted that off too, Sammy.
So if you look at where it landed and where it took off, there's no evidence that anything was even there. So think about when a meteor lands on Earth.
There's more gravity pulling the meteor in,
which I talk about.
Good.
So
talk about the science.
So think about when a meteor lands on Earth.
Mm-hmm.
There is usually an extremely large impact crater, even if the rock is relatively small.
Mm-hmm.
So why would there be nothing present on the moon? The most common debate is that the gravity on the moon is much less, which I looked up. It's only 1/6 or it's 1/6 of what we have here on Earth.
Okay, so it's quite a bit less.
It's a lot less. Therefore, the impact on the moon would have been much, much less.
Mm-hmm. There still would have been something, though.
There should have been some form of an impact crater.
Okay.
Because there was some aspect of gravity.
I think this is what happened. They got back in after they did all their little experiments. As they're getting ready and they hover above the moon with their little propulsion systems, they got a broom out and just swippity swept it away. Maybe that happened.
Okay.
Maybe.
All right.
They had to sweep away their boot prints for the camera. Stop making convincing arguments.
Okay, so that was theory.
I hate this!
That was theory number 2.
Okay.
That's it. Theory number 3 is that Van Allen radiation belts surrounding Earth would have been lethal to the astronauts. So radiation belts.
Okay.
Which would have made a successful trip to the moon impossible. Now, Professor Ojaha? I don't totally know. It's OJHA. He's spoken on this topic, and he first described that the Van Allen belts he described the Van Allen belts by stating that these are regions surrounding the Earth in our magnetic field where high energy trapped particles from the sun tend to get confined. So it's kind of like sun particles are trapped in a belt.
Well, wouldn't that affect our space station as well? Or is it not in a high enough orbit?
The space station is like past this orbit. So as we're leaving Earth and heading to the moon, we have to go through it. So in order to get to the space station, we still have to go through it.
So why would it be hard for us to go to the moon? We would still go through it like the space station people.
Well, this is what they're saying. Okay, so
but they're saying that radiation could have caused issues.
Yeah, so this is where sun particles are like getting trapped. He went on to say what that means is if you're going into these regions, there are extremely high radiation concerns.
Okay.
He went on to explain even further that the radiation belts are similar to like doing a fire walk here on Earth. So like when you walk across like fire coals.
Okay.
As long as you're moving at a good speed and don't linger for too long, you'll only experience mild discomfort or damage.
Okay.
So, like you can get through it.
It's kind of like when we go to the space station.
Like a little, I don't want to say pain, but you're going to experience a little bit of kind of
ouch.
Yes.
Okay.
So like you can get through it. It's doable. It won't kill you. I mean, maybe if you do it like 100 times, it
probably
might kill you.
It's probably not good for you.
It's like when you get an X-ray and you're exposed to some radiation.
Yeah.
That's what going through these belts are.
Okay. But the fact that we experience it every time we go to the International Space Station, that's insane.
Yeah.
I didn't know that there were belts like that around the Earth.
Van Allen radiation belts.
I've never heard of those.
Yep. You call yourself a space expert.
I am a space semi-expert.
So that's theory 3.
Okay.
Is that's an aspect of it. The last theory we're going to look at is that all that's been stated really is true, and we did have American astronauts set foot on the moon and help leap America to the top of the space race against the Soviet Union.
Fuck yeah, we did!
Having had a successful landing on the moon would have made us the leaders in all things space and jumped our research funding for more space expeditions in the future.
I want to believe that it happened. I would like to think, and don't get me wrong.
Which, I mean, that was what was broadcasted to the public.
Yeah.
Saying, oh, we made this mission to the moon. But, I mean, why only the moon? I mean, we got Mars, Saturn.
Well,
I mean, we're even receiving images from Pluto. I mean,
we're receiving images, but you can't
travel there in a lifetime. I mean, those are really far away.
Traveling in a lifetime is a huge issue.
Gaseous.
Yeah. Anything outside of Mars, they're all gaseous planets. We physically can't land on them. I mean,
none of the others are solid.
All of them. Well, Pluto is, but Pluto's now a dwarf planet. It's a different type of planet.
Plus, that's so far away. Could you get there in a lifetime?
I don't think so. It took a probe, like a miniature, like pen-sized probe. I mean, it was pretty tiny, maybe a little bit bigger than a pen. Shooting at, I don't know how many, I mean, really freaking fast. I don't know how many miles per hour, off the top of my head.
It's obviously not going at the speed of light. We can't have anything travel at the speed of light.
No, but it was very, very fast because of how small it was. It could go that fast, and it still took years to get there. Like, it's just...
There's no way we could send a whole spacecraft with humans on it there.
At that speed. I mean, it's going to take 5 years to get to Mars.
Yeah.
So, can you imagine Pluto, which is further than the last 4 main planets? It's not
And you're traveling
feasible.
away from the sun. You'd have no warmth.
No, none. You're definitely looking at...
You'd need a very high craft.
A very special craft. And the thing is, I think you'd get there, and one, we don't necessarily know all the technical stuff with the gravity and what is the atmosphere like on that planet. We don't have enough information.
Yeah.
That I don't foresee us going further than Mars. I think that we're going to go to Mars, and I think that we're going to even have issues there.
Honestly, I don't think we're going to make it to Mars.
I think we'll make it there.
So, honey, if you signed up to get your name on that list for Mars, I would get off it.
The thing is,
because we didn't even land on the moon.
I think we landed on the moon. I think we'll get there. I think there's going to be major issues, though. I think we will get people on Mars, but
I mean, they keep pushing it out, so it'll probably be like 2050.
I think in our lifetime we'll see it, but I think by the time the people actually
I'm
get
gonna be
there,
like 80.
I don't know. I don't think you'll be that old. It takes 5 years travel. They want this launch before 2030.
I don't believe it.
I could see it happening, but like I said, they're gonna get there, and mind you, they're like, oh, you're gonna have to be like, if you've seen The Martian, how he
grows his own food.
They're gonna have to be very good at that, because if they're not, you're not gonna have food supply, and you will die of starvation on Mars. And I could foresee that happening.
I can't imagine that. That'd be horrible.
But then again, maybe they take.
Hope they got a botanist on board, or they're teaching them.
Well, that's the whole program that they're in.
Yeah, I thought they already went through all of this and they were planned to ship.
They picked the people, and then I want to say they had to do some repicking of people, and I believe right now they're still in training.
I'm pretty positive that they sealed them in.
Mm-hmm.
Are they still sealed?
That's not for Mars.
What's that for?
That is to see how the human brain reacts to being capsized like that, so they know what it's going to be like for the people that go to Mars.
I think that is the people that are going to Mars. They're in a capsule right now to see how they behave.
See, I don't think that was the Mars crew.
I think it is.
I thought
they were look that up.
Okay, I'll look up. I thought they were studying the brains of those humans.
I don't think so. I think it's the actual people, because they are practicing for when they will be confined when they head to Mars.
No, they are. What they're doing is, it says NASA is seeking This was the article that came out prior to them going in. NASA is seeking applicants to participate in its next simulation 1-year Mars surface mission to help inform the agency's plans for human exploration on the red planet. So they want to see how your body can withstand
isolation
essentially. So these aren't going to be the actual astronauts, but they want to study the human and how they react to it.
Okay.
When you look at the size of this thing, it is so small.
Really?
It is.
It's probably the size of like a spaceship.
It's not even the size of a decent size, like a small house.
When you go to space, do you shower? Or do you just get that little bubble of water that comes out of that tube?
Well, if you go to like the space station, you have like bottles of water, and you spray it directly onto the scalp. And you have to push the water into your scalp and into your hair, because it just floats around because of no gravity. Yeah, I would struggle with that.
I could not. Mind you, it's not like you're like running laps,
but I also.
But then when you're up there, you have to exercise, otherwise you'll lose muscle mass when you come back. So I mean, you're exercising.
The people that go to outer space and come back, the muscle mass that they lose, it's insane.
Maybe I'd lose some weight if I went to Mars.
You lose weight because you're eating space food.
Well, and you're going to Mars, you ain't coming back, so it really doesn't matter. You probably don't have to exercise because you're gonna be living in that gravity the rest of your life.
There's so many complications with going to Mars. I love the idea of studying that planet, but you're not coming back. If you have a baby on Mars, they physically can never come back here.
No, because the gravity will crush them.
The gravity will compact their heart so hard that it'll kill them when they come to Earth, because there's such a drastic difference. But I'm like, okay, we haven't found a reliable water source on Mars. You're not showering. You're not having flushable toilets. You're like, there's complications with this.
They're gonna have to recycle their urine.
They're gonna have to do so much. Like, there are issues with this plan.
I really hope you're on top of this, because
and mind you,
if not, you're gonna kill a whole spaceship full of people.
I think NASA's only half in. I think the other part is on Elon. I think they're doing it. SpaceX and them are doing it together. And I
would not want my name attached to that.
There's a lot of pitfalls in this plan, and I think that's why it keeps getting delayed, because they're like, holy shit,
we're not ready.
We're gonna
look at what Boeing did.
We're gonna send these people out, and we're not gonna have enough supply.
I guarantee whatever happens with Boeing will dictate what will happen with Mars.
Oh, 100%. I 100% agree.
I mean, if I was out in space right now and they're like, yeah, we don't really know what we're going to do, I'd be crapping myself.
I'd be crying. I'd be crying so much. And granted,
if I go outside and start blowing in one direction, will it push us into the area we need to go?
It's just terrifying. They are experienced NASA astronauts, so they probably are like, we've experienced things like this before, because, I mean, there's bound to be things that go wrong.
Yeah.
But the fact that it's gone wrong so many times and the date has been pushed out numerous times,
yeah,
that's the concerning part. But before we did jump off this, because are you done?
I've got just my thing at the end.
Okay. It's not a long conspiracy. I don't think there would even be enough to have a whole podcast on it, so I'm just going to throw it in here. Have you heard the conspiracy that Mars was initially the first planet we ever lived on? And they say, because the soil samples that the Mars rover has collected has traces of an element, and I can't remember the name of the element.
Do we have it on Earth?
We have it on Earth, but guess the only time we've ever experienced it on Earth? During nuclear warfare. This element is only witnessed during that time, so they assume...
Is nuclear warfare like when we were bombing each other?
Yeah, with nuclear weapons.
Okay.
Nuclear bombs.
Okay.
They say that, or the conspiracy is, that everyone had lived on Mars at one point, and the nuclear warfare there got so bad they had to execute from that planet, leave the planet, and they found that Earth was a livable planet, and everyone came here. Or they sent shuttles, and the people had to repopulate the Earth here because so many people died there from nuclear warfare. It's a huge conspiracy, and I don't know if there's enough, like I said, to
fill a whole episode.
But they say that we started on Mars.
Eventually, maybe it'll be like a little bonus episode.
Yeah. Maybe, yeah, I want to do bonus episodes eventually, like little short ones. But yeah, that's a conspiracy in itself, that they say that we fucked up that planet.
And let's head over here.
You know that movie with, who's Star-Lord? Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
Okay, he did that movie with Jennifer Lawrence, where they were on a space.
Gravity.
No, not Gravity.
No. They lived in pods.
Yeah, and like they woke up.
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about.
Essentially, that they sent people down here like that to repopulate and recreate a new living atmosphere here on Earth.
Okay.
And like that was like the safe shuttle that got out, and that we had to come back down here and we had to start fresh here as like cavemen essentially, and work from that because we fucked up a planet so bad.
Wow.
And that's why it looks the way it does. I just found it very interesting that one of the biggest elements there is only found here when nuclear warfare is going on. I'm going to have to Google that. When we do this as a mini episode,
yeah,
I'll have to Google what exact element it is. But yeah, it only normally appears during nuclear warfare.
It's wild.
It's very wild. And it's very intriguing to me. I like that. But I don't like that. It's sad. But you know what I mean.
It's intriguing.
It's pulls you in a bit. But yeah. Go ahead and ask me, what do I believe?
All right. So what do you think really happened? Was the moon landing staged and has shoddy photographic documentation? Does the absence of a crater mean anything? Would the radiation belts have been lethal to the astronauts, or did we really set foot on the moon?
So, me being me, and I'm sorry to all the people out there that really buy into this podcast. I'm sorry to be the Debbie Downer of this episode. With loving space as much as I do, I'm going to say that we've landed on the moon. But that doesn't take away from the fact that there is very convincing evidence that if they came out years from now and were like, we never actually landed on the moon, I would have been like, okay, some of the evidence could have proved that.
Yeah.
Your photos, I 100% could buy that we didn't land on the moon. But because of where I stand on my love for space, I will always say we landed on the moon.
Well, and like the radiation belts,
that didn't pull me in.
That professor kind of explained that.
Well, especially because
like yes, you can travel through them. They won't be lethal to you, but they might do, like, you'll notice.
And the fact that we go through them to get to the
damage.
space station.
Yeah.
So like we're already going through them anyway. So
it's like getting a really strong X-ray.
Yeah. And what was that, Theory 3?
Yeah.
Theory 3 didn't do a whole lot for me because we already go through them.
But like the shoddy photographic evidence,
I could understand, like, okay.
And the absence of a crater are the big ones.
And I've seen TikToks where they're like, well, look at the boots, like the that's another thing that's convincing, and you didn't have it in there. And I can't believe I'm even putting this out there because we landed on the moon. We landed on the moon, but some guy went to like the Smithsonian, and there's like NASA type articles in there, and they showed a boot that like landed on the moon, and apparently like the bottom of the boot does not match the boot print on the moon.
Oh.
And I don't like that, but I don't know, because I know that like in your spacesuit you have a suit within the suit.
Oh, okay.
So like
maybe that was that.
It could have been one or the other. And he was like, well, look at this. This one has lines and this one doesn't. But like there are two different types that go on the bottom.
Okay.
So like I could have seen it either way.
Maybe that was the one that was up in the Columbia. That was his boot.
Yeah.
But you know what? He wouldn't be wearing boots because he's not leaving.
It doesn't matter. So I will always stand by we landed on the moon until I'm told by Buzz Aldrin or Neil Armstrong. Is Neil Armstrong still alive? I think he is.
I think they're both still alive.
And mind you, if we're ever going to hear different, it's going to be in something they release after they die. If we ever find out that we didn't have a moon landing, it's going to be in like a book they wrote, and they're like, this can be released after my death.
Mind you.
We landed. We're there. We touched boots on the moon, baby. One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. I just have a hard time not believing it.
I get it.
But
I know, when I started researching, I'm like, I really feel as though we've landed on it. And then I did some research and I was like, well,
I
maybe
know.
we didn't.
There is convincing evidence. Like, if you had to convince me of it, I guess you could convince me, but I will always stand by the fact that
I get it.
we're huge into space exploration. We, as a country, do a lot of that, and I will always say we landed.
Well, my thing is like nowadays, what's the point of sending people to the moon when we can just have a rover do it?
Yeah. Why risk lives? Like, don't put lives in jeopardy.
Because we can't even get people back. They're trapped out there.
Boeing is out there just floating around, and I hope by the time this posts and is published,
they're back. Fingers crossed, because that's terrifying.
I feel horrible for their families, for them. The anxiety I would feel.
I hope they packed them with a crap ton of anxiety medication, because I would need it.
I just can't even imagine the fear that I would have.
Yeah.
And mind you, they've like I said, they've probably been through these. I know. I hate myself this episode.
Yeah, you have said that a lot.
They have probably experienced things very similar to this before, but I still think it'd be scary.
It still doesn't take away the fear.
That, like, I might not make it back. Or I might be stuck here. And the thing is, what do? Do you just eventually starve to death, or do you open the door and just fucking die?
I just eat my colleague.
You're still gonna die of starvation eventually.
Plus, I can't imagine they've got, like, a microwave up there.
I think most of it is, like, backpacking food. Your favorite.
Can I heat up water?
I think
because cold water in those would be nasty.
I think they have a way to do that. I would assume. I don't know that much about that, but
a hot plate.
I still remember when I was in elementary school, they're like, oh, we're going to learn about space. And then they showed like an astronaut in a video and he's like, this is how we eat ice cream. And it was freeze-dried ice cream. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to go to space so I can do that.
God, no.
And now I look
just
at it
go to
like,
the backpacking aisle and
choke
it down.
It's horrible.
It's not good.
Not
worth it.
I love
At
the
this
camping.
Point, well, mind you, I won't be eating backpacking food because I'm not backpacking.
We're glamping.
Well, kind of.
Half glamp. It'll be nice.
Hopefully I'll be eating my delicious REI food at this point.
REI, plugging you again, because if you want to become outdoorsy, REI is the best way to start.
I know.
It truly is, because
they got some good trips.
I don't feel comfortable enough navigating these big national parks by myself. I don't want to have to plan it all. I don't want to have to know the best trails. I don't want to have to do any of that. REI does it all for me. They make my food. They reserve my campsite. The one we're going on, we have flushing toilets. We'll have showers. Like,
that's a selling point for Taylor.
I hate shitting in the woods. Hate it. Hate it, hate it, hate it. Not a fan.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah, no. I want a flushing toilet and running water. I can backpack. I've done it. I don't enjoy it necessarily, the bathroom part.
I figured that'd probably be our next trip.
I have a feeling next year I'm going to get dragged with a 50-pound pack on my back into the middle of freaking nowhere. And the hard part is they have beautiful views.
I know.
When we got to the top of the Rocky Mountains, I'm like, I'm never going to experience this again.
That's because you're in backcountry.
And it's beautiful. When we went to the lake with a beach, there was a beach up in the middle of the mountains.
I know. It was wonderful.
I can't even describe the view. It is an experience that you will never feel for the first time again.
Yeah.
And
you gotta experience it.
It is well worth it. But I will tell you, when you go back and snuggle into that sleeping bag and you're dirty, ugh, I hate it.
I wet wiped. I was good.
A baby wipe can only clean so much, Sammy. Not a fan of that, but I'm very excited. When this podcast drops, just think of us, guys. We're going to be sitting in the middle of Yellowstone or Grand Tetons.
Probably Yellowstone at this point.
Yeah. But yeah, it should be good.
So that's all we got for you. Please remember to subscribe to our podcast, leave a review, like us on Facebook and Instagram at Conspiracy Podcast 1, and remember to tune in for next week's episode, which will be posted on Wednesday. Bye, guys.
See ya.